was unclear now is clear. Because the world, the universe, and truth are far bigger than the thoughts that you and I have accepted. It's not what you do, it's who you are. This moment right now is the single most important and beautiful moment of our life. Be in this moment, play in this moment, have this moment, live this moment. Want what's happening now. You begin to see that life is not so serious, that we're here to enjoy this experience of life through the tears, through the sadness, and through the fears. Every stream in life, every experience of life is leading me to the ocean of my existence. It's awesome stuff to live.
Oh, Buddha!
We don't need to do anything. There is no place else to be but where we are. This is truly one of the most beautiful places on the whole planet to me. And it has been my lifelong dream, honestly, to share this place with you and to do an Aspire program here. So this means a lot to me. I feel so connected to my spirit when I'm here, so connected to life. Let me ask you a question. What's it mean to be spiritual to you? What is the word spiritual mean? Well, the moment I say it, for most people, immediately a philosophy comes in. Some kind of religious philosophy that you've adopted, that maybe somebody taught you, that appealed to your ego, to your sense of logic and reasoning. But anything that is truly spiritual has nothing to do with logic and reasoning. And if something makes sense to you from your five senses, chances are it has nothing at all to do with what is really spiritual. In my life, I've met some very interesting people, illumined masters, couple of them, few of them in my day that I've been able to meet and sit with, and I'm going to tell you something. They made no sense to my senses, and that was one of the first things that clued me in on what a real sense of spirituality is. What does it mean to be spiritual? Now, let me show you. I'm going to show you right now. Can you hear it? The way you listen to this, how it resonates in you. And what you feel on the inside is the very quality of your spirit. The ability to hear the chimes without the mind interfering with some kind of logic and reasoning as to why the chimes are playing or what they even mean. A real deep sense of spirituality has no meaning to the logic and to the senses of a human being. It has to do with something more. It has to do with something about what we feel on the inside that our mind and body cannot know. They must follow the sense of our spirit. What we have done is we've invented our mind and body to create a sense of spirit. And when we've done that, we've created religion and philosophy that have nothing at all to do with spirituality. True spirituality is born out of silence, out of a no-thingness. I want to read to you something that Lao Tzu said many thousands of years ago. It is probably one of the greatest guides that you will ever find towards spirituality. Listen to this. Hear what he is saying. The 5 colors blind the eye. The 5 tones deafen the ear. The 5 flavors dull the taste. Racing and hunting madden the mind. Precious things lead one astray. Therefore, the sage is guided by what he feels and not what he sees. He lets go of that and chooses this. Lao Tzu was correct when he was talking about our five senses blinding us to the quality of our spirit. You know, in the beginning, a spiritual practice is first realized more by decrease than increase. The more willing you are to decrease your influence, your attention on your five senses, the more you're going to find your spirit coming out. The more you give credit to your five senses, the more you live from them and gratify yourself from them, the further away your spirit will be. It's real simple. You have a choice. Are you going to live from and for your five senses, or are you going to use your five senses, so to speak, to help you with your life, but not make your life? Many, many books on the subject of spirituality. Can books answer the call of a spiritual practice or even make us spiritual? We have books about people who claim to be descendants of Buddha. And then this is one of my new favorite ones, The Buddha in the Box. This is exactly what we like to do to Buddha. We put him in a little box, just like we do Jesus. Keep him in the church, keep Buddha in the box. Nothing's in here. Philosophy is cheap, my friend, and anybody can have a philosophy or an opinion. But direct experience is the only way you and I will ever know the quality of our spirit and the quality of our life. Your spirit longs for that. Your body interprets it as love. Your mind interprets it as gratification. Pleasure, love, gratification. None of these things have anything to do with the direct experience of your spirit. At one time or another in our life, we have to make some kind of decision in our life. What's it going to be? Our body, our mind, our heart, our soul, our being, our spirit. Most people choose the body and the mind. It's the easier path and the path of least resistance. But if you want to find something real in your life and you long for the adventure of something real, then you're going to have to begin to follow your breath to your spirit. It is your breath that will lead you to the spirit of yourself. And when you're willing to follow that breath through meditation, begin to watch it a little bit, you'll begin to see within yourself what is really happening in your life. You are a spiritual being first and foremost. Your body and mind are meant to be servants of that spirituality, not the other way around. You got to take the Buddha out of the box, and you got to forget the books you've read to find yourself and read who you are. So my point is, if you let your five senses rule your life, you'll begin to see that you're further and further away from your spiritual practice. A spiritual practice has nothing to do with the body. Nobody likes you anyway. Try to understand that. Your body has nothing to do with your life. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. Inside of you is your life. Your body is, so to speak, the vehicle which you use to get around in this physical world. It was born from your mother and father's parents. You got to understand your genes, your DNA. It's all in here. My body is not me. It belongs to Ed and Jean Penn and their parents and their parents and their parents. But my body carries all the memory of my life. Every situation that has ever happened to me, my body remembers at one place or another, both emotionally and psychologically. And as we grow older and as we go through our life, it becomes more and more important for us to kind of deal with that energy because it creates anger and hurt and pain. A healthy body is what everybody wants. Everybody wants a youthful body. I read books of Western New Age gurus. I have a real hard time with them. And all they're basically doing is appealing to the masses and their feelings of inferiority and insecurity with their body. Ageless body. A spiritual practice will bring you an ageless body. Buddha died of old age, basically. Krishna died of old age, basically. All great masters, all people die due to old age. The body's going to get old. And running out and telling people that they will have an ageless body if they practice a spiritual work, and then to go out and maybe try to find some kind of youth through surgery isn't going to change anything. We're so obsessed with youth and looking good and thinking that that will bring us a sense of spirituality, or vice versa. We've lost our whole call in life. Listen, growing old gracefully is the real art of life. Look at me. I'm growing older before your very eyes. If you look at old programs of Aspire, you'll see I've grown older. Everybody grows older. That's not the point. Looking young when you're 65 years old or 70 isn't the point. Here's the point. Did your spirit come out of you? Did you grow old gracefully through love, through compassion? Was there a sense of consciousness in you as you grew older? Everybody just wants to look younger. No, no, no. That's not the point of the body. The body starts here, rises, and falls. It is the nature of the body to do that. What happens between its beginning and its end is called a lifetime. And that lifetime is dependent upon whether or not we ever let our spirit out of ourselves, whether or not we ever nurtured our spirit and focused our spirit. The inertia of the body gets to be quite a bit, because as you grow older and hit middle age and start falling towards old age, you're going to find that everything that you did in your early years, all of the sins of our youth, so to speak, are stored in the body, and they start to bear their fruit in us. They make us sluggish. They make us indifferent towards our spirit. This is why Lao Tzu said that we are blinded by our five senses. You have to forget what you're looking at with the body and begin to acknowledge what you feel inside. Follow the feel of yourself. Give up the idea of whether or not you look 22, 18, 35, 40, or even 50 years old. Youth has nothing to do with the success of a spiritual practice. And if I have to dangle before you that your mind is going to be more powerful and your body more sexy, beautiful, or whatever, to get you to do a spiritual practice, then I'm not treating you very well. I'm using you. I'm baiting you. I'm using your weaknesses against yourself. Nobody likes you anyway. You've got to begin to understand at some point in your life, it is the basis of your spirit that counts. Bring out your spirit, and your body will maybe heal, maybe not, but it won't matter. Your spirit will give you the life you are seeking. And most people are seeking life. They just don't know how to go about it. If you go about it through the physical world, you're going to have to go through surgery, and you're going to have to go through all sorts of rudiments. I like the old bumper sticker that says, eat right, stay fit, die anyway. It's the truth. There's nothing going to keep you from death. But I'm going to tell you something. If you find your spirit, even though your body dies, you will know life, and you will never die. The most difficult thing my students have to deal with, and myself as well, is the mind, how the mind relates to the body. The mind is the overseer of the body, the gratifier, the hunter. It goes out and it tries to hunt down and find gratification for the body to make it feel good. As the years go on in us, and as we try to ignore the body's hurt and pain and sorrow and shove it down with sex and food and religion and money and power and prestige, it starts to back up like sewage. And the mind then has to find drastic means to make sure that we don't feel too much pain. So it will go out and try to conquer the world, or find a new mate, or find a new job, or find a new place to live, or buy a new car. Anything it can to keep the pain away, thinking that gratification will heal the body or make it feel better. It won't. The mind is interesting. It doesn't go away. Your everyday mind stays there and just tries to absorb the fear and reflect the fear of the body. A spiritual practice offers to you the alternative to that. A spiritual practice begins every day with something called no mind. That means that we begin to practice what it is to experience the pauses and the gaps and the spaces between our thoughts. This is why we do Vipassana meditation. It's why we do every spiritual exercise we can, so we can start to develop third person enough inside of us that we can back off from our thoughts and begin to see they're not our thoughts. They're someone else's thoughts. They're your mother, your father, your family's thoughts. Your mind belongs to the culture. Your mind belongs to the society, your education. It does not belong to you. You intrinsically, as spirit, have no mind. You are simply the flow of life, the Tao of life. This is why Lao Tzu says, don't look at things, feel them. Feeling is the only way to counteract the pain of the mind. And the mind's always in pain. Look at your mind, always looking for something to gratify it, to make it feel better about itself, looking for some new thought. I watch my students struggle. They think they're supposed to change their minds, make a better mind out of their spiritual practice. No, that's not what it's about. Leave your everyday mind over here and come and sit over here. Feel yourself. Feel the sense of resolve in your spirit. Let your mind go, your fears of your thoughts and what you have and what you don't have and your fears of what might happen to you, and come sit over here. Take no thought for your life, as Jesus said. He said that on the Sermon on the Mount. Do you remember? Take no thought for your life. He wasn't saying, now what's your 5-year plan? What's your 3-year plan? And how are you going to reach your goals? He said, take no thought, meaning no concern for your life. If you feel your life on the inside, genuinely feel the love that lives within you, then you can follow your way to your life. I give my students exercises, things for them to physically do in following their breath, because it is the breath that gives you life. If you're in your breath, if you can follow your breath, you will be very successful in meditation. You can do Heart to Hari, one of the master series I do, where you bring your energy up from your navel, up to your heart, and let it drop down. Up to your heart, let it drop down. You can use this when you're tense and you're nervous or afraid. When you're driving and you feel something's wrong and you don't know what's going on, you can do your heart breath exercise, just breathing through your heart, imagining that this is your heart, your lungs, your space, and opening up this chakra just to allow life to come through. It is an exercise. You have to exercise yourself past your thoughts and past your ideas, past your worries, past your philosophy and your religion. See, in the beginning of a spiritual practice, it all looks real frightening, because the body and mind will never support a spiritual practice, never. You won't find anything out in the world that will support the practice of your heart and your soul and your spirit. So don't be looking for a book, or don't be looking for some new age way to follow yourself. You must have the direct experience. I say direct experience is the most powerful, and it is everything in your life. And when you are willing to have a direct experience over the thoughts that you think gratify you and keep you safe, that is when you're beginning to find your spirit, and that is when you're beginning to find your life again. The truest art to life is to learn to live in the body, but not from the body, as though you are the meat suit and the mind. You are something more than this body. This body belongs to the earth. The mind belongs to the culture, your parents, the society. Begin this week to look at your body and mind a little bit. Try to see how they rule you, how they taunt you, how they make you feel like though there's an urgency, trying to avoid death, trying to avoid what you're afraid of. The whole idea of life is to live meditatively. I'm not talking about living in the Himalayas naked somewhere and meditating on the meaning of life. That's our Western idea of being spiritual. I'm saying living in the world, but not of the world. And to do that, you will need to take a meditative stance. It's the difference between being conscious and having a conscience. Your conscience is your body and your mind, and it belongs to your body and your mind. But your consciousness, that belongs to the quality of your spirit. There is no guilt, no shame. There's only love. You were born in love. You've always lived in love. And you will never die if you know love. That's the key. But most people, well, they give their whole life over to their body and their mind, and they think that that's all that counts. There is much more in this life that counts. You are far more than your body. And the life, far more than raiment, far more than meat, as Jesus said. It is about really living. And living comes from consciousness, from being playful, and from living your meditation. I want to thank you for watching our program. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Aspire. We're going to be continuing in our series on Nobody Likes You Anyway. Do you have the courage to join us? I hope so. Please forgive me. Namaste. Lao Tzu had a very beautiful statement to make on what real spirituality is and what is it. You show yourself through your, well, it has lots of memory and it remembers every single thing every single thing. To grow old gracefully while your spirit comes out more definedly. I just screwed that up. Definitively, what's the word? Definitively. Do it through knowledge. It tries to find 150,000 different ways to deal with a car backing out and screwing up this whole shit.